Welcome into OutKick the show. I'm your fearless leader, Clay Travis, live in Milwaukee. Right off the top, I got to tell you, it was incredible to see Donald Trump walk into the Republican National Convention last night. We talked with, just incredible, the scene as Lee Greenwood was singing God Bless the USA. We talked with Lee Greenwood on the show. If you aren't listening to Clay and Buck or watching Clay and Buck, we're at foxnation.com. You can watch all 3 hours every day. You never have any idea who's going to swing by. It's a lot like the Super Bowl in that there's always somebody new coming by. We had on the show today that we just finished, Jim Jordan, Ohio congressman, huge sports fan. I love that guy. Eric Trump, one of the obvious Trump sons. Senator Rick Scott from Florida. We also had, breaking all this down, Marsha Blackburn from the Senate, Lee Zeldin, would-be governor from New York that I think swung the outcome in the congressional race, Alina Habba, Tim Sheehy, who's going to be the next senator from Montana, and also Lee Greenwood. A lot of different moving parts on all of that. It was absolutely phenomenal. Really, really fantastic show. And obviously, I'm talking to you right now from Milwaukee. But right off the top, I want to tell you, I know a lot of you last night were watching that disastrous national anthem, which we'll get into in a moment. But I want to tell you, why not go ahead and download the PrizePicks app right now? You get $100 up to at PrizePicks.com if you use the code OutKick. Whether you love basketball, baseball, football, Olympics coming up. So many different opportunities out there to have some fun. It's really simple. You just pick more. You just pick less. You pick at least 2 different player options there, and you can up to 10, 100, 1,000 times your money. I've got a winner for you right now. All-star game going on tonight. Hopefully, the national anthem's a little bit better than the one that we saw taking place last night for the home run derby. I've got here a 5X payout. 3 superstars scheduled to be on the field. Bryce Harper over a half bases, total bases. Aaron Judge over a half total bases. And Trey Turner over a half total bases. Challenge is you don't know exactly how many at-bats all these guys are going to get, but Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Trey Turner, all over a half on the total bases front. That will get you a payout of 5X. Again, up to $100, no risk. Simply go to prizepicks.com, use my code OutKick, and you will be hooked up and ready to roll with that. I mentioned what the scene was like last night. I was in the arena when Donald Trump came in while Lee Greenwood was singing God Bless the USA, and it was a electric, transcendent scene. Trump having recently survived his assassination with his ear still bandaged, the entire arena came undone as Lee Greenwood is singing. It's one of the most incredible political history events that I have ever seen. Trump even felt to me somewhat somber, as if he was feeling the weight of history on his shoulders. Also felt a bit like destiny that he survived. I know, unfortunately, we had the loss of a life, an entirely innocent man. I'm going to get into that and why I think the Secret Service director should be fired or forced to resign. There's no way that that person should be able to stay in office. But I have to tell you, being in that arena, it was incredibly compelling. I think it probably translated on television as well. But for Trump to come in while Lee Greenwood was singing was an intense moment of incredible Americana. Now, while I was, you might have seen me with Martha McCollum, about to go on the air at Fox News yesterday, news came down that Trump had picked his vice president, J.D. Vance, Ohio State grad, Yale Law grad. Only thing I can say that's negative about J.D. Vance, he's an Ohio State Buckeye fan, which isn't actually going to convey necessarily that well in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Wisconsin, where I am right now, because a lot of people who root for the Badgers, a lot of people who root for the Wolverines, including my wife, lots of people out there, big Penn State and Indy Lion fans, but I like the logic of the pick. What do I mean by that? Basically, you park J.D. Vance in the Midwest, wrote the book Hillbilly Elegy, connects very well with all of these Midwestern, particularly middle class, sometimes lower middle class, white voters in that area, what I call the Big Ten strategy. This is a Big Ten race. Just like 2016 was, just like 2020 was, you tell me how Wisconsin's going to go, where I'm sitting right now in Milwaukee. You tell me how things are going to go in Pennsylvania. You tell me how things are going to go in Michigan. We'll know the outcome. If Trump wins one of these three states, he's going to be the next president of the United States. In 2016, all three of those states moved in tandem. Trump won all three. In 2020, Joe Biden won all three. Maybe they move in tandem again. But if Trump is able to pull just one of those three states, he's the next president of the United States. We basically have a Big Ten strategy in play with J.D. Vance, 39, will turn 40 very soon. I like the pick. I think he is basically half the age of Donald Trump, but congruent on policy. J.D. Vance is very smart. I think Kamala Harris, he will wipe the floor with her in the vice presidential debate, just like we saw Joe Biden get the floor wiped with him in the presidential debate. I would be very, very surprised if J.D. Vance does not acquit himself incredibly well. What I like about J.D. is he's willing to go into the lion's den. A lot of people only want to do friendly media. I'm open to going to talk to anybody. You guys know this. I respect others who are willing to do so as well. J.D. Vance will. I believe that he's going to do a fantastic job. Couple of other, by the way, credit to my radio show co-host, Buck Sexton, who called the J.D. Vance thing back when you could have gotten J.D. Vance at 10-1. Odds were very low at that time that J.D. Vance was going to be the pick. And my co-host, Buck Sexton, he got it right. Now I owe him a steak over that. Want to talk about the failure to protect Trump on Saturday. Some of you saw my reaction video that I put up on Saturday right after that attempted assassination, right after Trump had his ear clipped. Crazily, I can't believe this is real, but there are some left-wingers out there that are claiming this is not real. Those people have lost their minds. Kim Cheadle, who is the head of the Secret Service, has to be fired. She failed at her only job. The only thing she has to do is protect the president or the former president or the president's family. That's it. It is a one-person job, one objective, and she failed. We're all very fortunate that Trump survived. Unfortunately, the dad behind him didn't. A couple of other people were critically injured. They allowed this 20-year-old psychopath to climb up onto the top of an elevated venue and have several shots at the President of the United States. Complete all systems breakdown. The fact that this was allowed to occur is such a failure that this woman must be fired. We cannot trust her to be able to lead the Secret Service now. We had a scenario where there is a guy for multiple minutes on top of a roof with a gun and no one stopped him. It is a failure of epic proportions, and there is no way that this woman should still be in office now, and in her position, in her job. Last night, Joe Biden, talking with Lester Holt, said that he had talked with the man who was in charge of the Secret Service. Joe Biden can't even get the gender right of the individual that was involved here. I'm still furious about this. The woman now has come out and said, the reason why we didn't have someone on the roof was because the roof was sloped and it wasn't safe. Excuse me. The entire purpose of the job of a Secret Service agent is to protect the lives of the individuals you are charged with protecting, including giving up your own life and your own body in the process if necessary. You're telling me that the Secret Service director's defense is it was unsafe to put a sniper on top of the roof, even though there were Secret Service agents on sloped roofs that were able to shoot this psychopath after he nearly killed President Trump. This is not an acceptable defense. This must, at minimum cost her job. And we have to go back to the meritocracy. I was glad to see last night when Trump walked into the RNC, guess who was protecting him? Big, strong, badass dudes, people who should be trying to protect the President of the United States. Do away with everything but the meritocracy on these jobs. I'm telling you, this is completely unacceptable what we saw going on there. Now, on top of that, you also had Joe Biden come out in his interview with Lester Holt and say, oh, hey, by the way, I haven't said anything inappropriate other than talking about the bullseye commentary. Biden put the bullseye on Trump. Not so much focusing on that language to me as saying that he's Hitler, saying that he's a direct threat to democracy. All of this is, in my opinion, what I said right after this shooting happened. All of that is what put the danger for Trump out there that he was having to deal with. All right, just a couple of other things. Incredibly hectic. You may be able to hear a lot of the noise around me here as we are doing OutKick the show from Radio Row in Milwaukee. Planning to be with you tomorrow. Planning to be with you Thursday as well for these shows. But I would encourage you to go to foxnation.com. You can stream all 3 hours of Clay and Buck. As I mentioned, we're going to have incredible guests as a part of the process of doing these shows up here. I'll be up here all the way through Friday. So I didn't see it till I got back home in my hotel room. The Home Run Derby All-Star Game singer, her name is Ingrid Andress. She has said, hey, I was drunk. I don't know how you get drunk before you sing the national anthem with that big of an audience. I think that's her name. I don't know her at all. I watched this and I said, move over Carl Lewis. Because Carl Lewis, if you remember, one of the worst national anthem performances in the history of the national anthem. But this woman, Ingrid Andress, is actually a professional singer. She failed on an epic level, and it came to her ability to actually deliver there. All of this is somewhat humorous, but also pretty pathetic that they couldn't keep the woman sober when it came to her national anthem. So I appreciate all of you. Like I said, incredible shows coming 3 hours every single day. You can check out clayandbuck.com. You can watch us on Fox Nation. PrizePicks, one more time, up to $100, no risk. Bryce Harper over a half base. Aaron Judge over a half base. And Trey Turner over a half base. It pays out at 5X. Go get signed up right now. PrizePicks.com. Use the code OutKick up to $100. You can 10X your money. You can 100X your money. You'll be glad that you did it. When you sign up, PrizePicks.com, use that code OutKick. I am Clay Travis. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. This has been OutKick the show. I appreciate all of you for hanging out with me. I'll see you tomorrow.